Gee, what a grand final yesterday was. That hands down has to be one of the best grand finals I've ever watched as a neutral supporter in recent memory. So yeah, without further ado, we are going to go through and review the 2023 AFL Grand Final. Now, as always guys, if you do end up enjoying the video, make sure you drop me a like, subscribe if you're new, make sure you join the Marshy Army. We are trying to reach 500 subscribers at the end of the year, and yeah, anything you do is appreciated. Yeah, on to the grand final. Like, that has to be, yeah, like I said earlier, one of the best grand finals I've ever watched. It was extremely close from beginning to end, just exactly what you want out of a grand final. The best two teams all year, they both deserved to be there, both deserved to win it in the end. And yeah, they put on an absolute show. Collingwood ended up winning. They are the premiers for 2023. They were 12-18-90, defeated the Brisbane Lions 13-8-86 by 4 points. Definitely not how you want to lose the grand final, by under a kick. That has to hurt. But yeah, we are going to go through the key moments that made this absolutely thrilling grand final. So let's just kick things off. Starting things off with the pre-game entertainment. You know, up there Kazali. Definitely it is a football national anthem. He did a really good job. And yeah, same with Kiss. Kiss was absolutely unreal. Like, I only know a couple of their songs. They're more my parents' type of thing, but yeah, they both set the stage for what was a great grand final. We'll go quarter by quarter, so we'll start off with the first quarter, and you know, none other than Nick Dacos to kick the first for the Magpies. An absolutely unreal moment that I think no Magpie person will ever forget. The son of a gun kicks the first to set the Pies up. It was a great moment. And you know, how good was Zach Bailey's first quarter? Kicked two amazing grand final goals. Probably one of the... That one where he shrugged off a couple on that boundary line and then snapped was one of the best goals I have ever seen in general. That was a great goal. But yeah, in that first quarter, Nathan Murphy went down around that 26-minute mark with a pretty heavy head knock going for the ball. He copped a shoulder off Lincoln McCarthy. And yeah, was eventually subbed off at quarter time. But yeah, that definitely would have rattled the Pies coach's box. You know, they had just lost McStay the week before, and they brought in Billy Frampton to be that key forward. And yeah, to beat down a defender in the first quarter definitely not the start that you wanted. Saying with bad starts, Jordan De Goey had a pretty quiet first quarter up until he took that mark on the quarter time siren, pretty much 50 metres out, and had to flush it from 50, and he did just that. Set the Magpie Army into an absolute frenzy, bombing it from outside 50. And yeah, it was a very tight contest in that first quarter. And you move on to the second quarter. The Lions pretty much had all that momentum in that first half. Kicked the first two thanks to Cameron and McCluggage. But then Bobby Hill popped up, as he did in the first quarter, to kick his second of the game. I think the Lions ended up kicking the next three. To Cameron McCarthy to kick his second as well. And then Big Joe Danaher finally put himself on the board. Then there's just this huge momentum swing. With 10 minutes left to go, the Magpies flicked a switch, and Jack Crisp and Bobby Hill popped up again to kick 4 goals between them. Bobby Hill 4 for the game, and then Jack Crisp to kick one, and then to kick another one on the halftime siren. The game was already close as it is, but you literally could not separate each team. It was looking like it was going to be an absolute high-scoring game, but you know, you go into the third quarter, no one could score a goal literally for that pretty much the first half. But then Dev Robertson was able to mark one in the goal scoring kick one, and then leave it up to none other. This was a key moment here. Scott Pendlebury, Bobby Hill took a mark, was going to go back and kick it, but saw Scotty Pendlebury and absolutely laced him out. And Scott Pendlebury is able to line up, go back, the veteran, and slot it. And yeah, just kept the Pies in it. That was pretty much it for that third quarter. And then you go into the last quarter. Again, it was looking like pretty much the same with that third. And then Charlie Cameron, out of nowhere, kept his feet and kicked his third for the game. Pretty much putting the Lions in front. And yeah, it looked like the Lions had one hand on that cup. And then you move on to Jordan De Goey, who, after a beautiful handball from Nick Dacos, was able to kick his second in the game. And God, that was a moment. That was absolutely special. Late in the piece, still Sybum takes a mark on the wing. Barry pretty much throws him to the ground after he's taken a mark. And of course, they're going to pay 50 for that every day of the week. All he was trying to do was hold him up, but he just did a bit too much. I don't think Steele Sidebottom would have that leg on him anymore to absolutely flush it from outside 50. And yeah, how good was that? Scott Pendlebury and Still Sidebottom, the two veterans who were in the last Collingwood Premiership in 2010, to kick both goals on the big stage to pretty much secure the win for the Pies was absolutely amazing. And in those last 2 minutes, Joe Danaher was able to take a mark inside 50 after some beautiful work from the boundary line from Hugh McCluggage to absolutely hit to lace him up. And he was able to quickly go around the corner and kick one, and it was still game on in those last 2 minutes. But the Pies do what they do all year. They are absolutely awesome when it comes to holding the ball up and keeping it in tight, and just doing stoppage after stoppage until that siren went. It was a pretty controversial call. Lachie Neale was tripped, and then Zach Bailey for some reason tried to play on the advantage and try and kick this little kick over his head, and yeah, they called advantage, and geez, they'd want that one back. In those instances, you don't pay advantage, you call it back. But look, those are what ifs. Could have Neil gone and hit someone up? I honestly don't think so. I reckon Collingwood would have flooded back, and it would have been pretty hard for the Lions to score. The Pies got home in an absolute thriller. Yeah, it wasn't the prettiest grand final in the world, but boy, it was close. Like I said, it was close from beginning to end, and it was just a great one to watch as a neutral supporter. My dad, being a Pie supporter, he was riding every bump, every tackle, every goal. He was looking. God, he was lost for words at the end of it. He was going off when that final siren sounded. Now, moving on to the Norm Smith medal, a much-deserved one by none other than Bobby Hill. He pretty much kept Collingwood in it the whole game. He was pretty much the only presence up forward for the Magpies. Billy Frampton, he actually did pretty good on Harris Andrews. There was probably 3 or 4 different chances where he had a really good run and jump at the ball. Like, he moved Andrews out of the way, had a clear run and jump, but just couldn't hold the mark. But yeah, Bobby Hill was definitely the one to keep the Magpies in it. And, moving on to Nick Dacos, he had an absolutely unreal game. I think he finished with 29 disposals at the end of the day, and 1 goal. Definitely also was a factor in the Pies' win. The midfielders for the day played okay, but you couldn't really find a standout for anyone in the game bar Bobby Hill really kicking those 4. But if you go up forward to the Brisbane Lions, God, their small forwards were absolutely dangerous all day. You had Bailey kick 2, you had Cameron kick 3, you had McCarthy kick 2, you had Joe Danaher kick 3 at the end of the day. But then, you have someone like Eric Hipwood who had the yips early. He had a set shot pretty much in the first 5 minutes of the game, and he absolutely shanked it. But yeah, imagine if when you go down by a kick, those are the things that you look back on and it's like, oh, if only he had a kicked. He had 2 set shots, Eric Hipwood, and he missed both. Look, in saying that, where do I think this goes for both teams? For the Pies, obviously they can go and do it again next year. They'll be even more drilled in these high-pressure situations to get the job done. And for the Lions, I reckon they'll bounce back. I think they're only now just starting to hit their straps. And yeah, they'll be in amongst it again next year to hopefully be here again next year. Yeah, that is going to do my review of the 2023 AFL Grand Final. As always, guys, if you enjoyed the video, make sure you drop me a like, subscribe if you're new, leave a comment down below what you thought of the Grand Final, and yeah, I'll see you all in the next video. Cheers.